Hey everybody, it's 8:30 and that means it is time for cocktails in the war room, which is why I am in the war room and why I have a cocktail. So what's going on? I'm Mistress Carrie. Thank you guys for joining me every night at 8:30. Cheers, you made it through another day. Congratulations. What's going on, Rick? Hey, Trisha. Drinky time, Trisha says. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, this tastes actually really good. I needed this. What's going on, Ash? Hey, Trina. Hey, Kim. I'm going to need you guys to tell me if I got a little tan today, because I spent a lot of time out in the yard today. I worked my ass off in the yard. I put a picture up of my patio, actually. I call it Carrie's Cantina, which is where my bonfire pit is and where I like to hang out outside in the summertime when the mosquitoes aren't trying to suck all the blood out of my body. That's right. It is Easter for all of my Greek friends. And how do they say it? Is it something Anesti? How do you say it? Come on, my Greek friends, you got to help me out. But my friend Noni, my friend Aaliyah, my friend Andrew, they are all celebrating Easter today. So for all of my Greek friends, happy Easter. And today is also actual Patriots Day. So of course, it's celebrated on the Monday, but April 19th is actually the day. So, so I spent the day outside. A little tan or blushing for me, Jeff wants to know. I think it's tan, actually. But I was out in the yard all day today and got a lot of stuff done. It felt so good to be out in the sun and just feel like I was getting something accomplished. But Steve says I should call it the Blueberry Cobbler Cantina. The Blueberry Cobbler jokes never get old. Ever, 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 ever. Christos Anesti. Thank you, Gina. Christos Anesti. So I was on the phone with one of my college friends yesterday. My friend Noni, who lives in Queens, and she was preparing for Easter, and the family was all gonna pass dishes around, but they weren't gonna celebrate together, which, is totally hard for her family because she comes from this giant Greek family. So I know it's such a huge family day for everybody, and all the amazing food she was cooking, and it just bums me out that obviously their family's not going to be together. And then for everyone else, just that we're not all able to get together on a beautiful day like today and be hanging around. Like all the neighbors today in my neighborhood were all working on their respective yards, and we were waving from across the street. And but we made it through another day, and today was beautiful, and it was awesome. I took Wednesday and her best pal Zero out in the backyard and ran them around like crazy, which is why you don't hear them barking right now and why neither of them are moving, because they are exhausted. Eric says donated platelets and then went for a ride with the window open. That's a fantastic day, Eric. Thank you very much for your donation today. Rodney says the fire pit area is on point. Thank you. Yeah, I put a picture up on my Instagram and also on this Facebook page so that you guys could check it out and see the fruits of all of my hard labor today. I'm exhausted and I really needed this today. So cheers to everybody for all of the hard work that you guys did. Stephanie says she got her flower garden ready and then helped her husband and brother put up a fence. So a lot of people were doing it today. William says, so show your Guns N' Roses shirt, damn it. Yes, this I got in 1991 at the Centrum, and Soundgarden opened up for Guns N' Roses. And this shirt has been worn so many times. I remember leaving that show. Soundgarden did not have a good show. There were, back in the early days, Chris Cornell either had a really good vocal night or a really bad vocal night. Obviously, we know as he got older and he learned how to take care of his voice. Once he got out of his partying ways, he was a lot more predictable in his performances, and obviously his voice was amazing. But in the early years, his voice was touch and go, and that show with Guns N' Roses at the Centrum, his voice was not good. And I left there going, like, I love the music so much, but he sucks as a singer. And then I saw him a couple months later again, and he was amazing, and I was like, okay, I was totally wrong. But I hate that there was a time, even a brief moment, where I thought that Chris Cornell was not a good singer, but I could only judge them off of that performance opening up for Guns N' Roses, and it just wasn't good. But obviously we know, having had Chris Cornell, come through town on his various projects with, Soundgarden, Audioslave, his solo stuff, his solo acoustic stuff, when he came up to the studio and played acoustic. I mean, we know, obviously, that he is one of the greatest rock and roll vocalists ever, but this show was not a high point for him. But otherwise, it was awesome. And yes, Guns N' Roses was late getting on stage, which sucked. But I dug this one. Jared said, because it was fucking snowing. I totally forgot it was snowing that night. You are right. Yes. Wayne says, made some kick-ass meatballs today, the size of baseballs. Jennifer says, Chris Cornell was amazing. 100% agree. One of my favorite singers of all time. Just wasn't a great gig for him. So between Soundgarden not having a great gig and then Guns N' Roses getting on stage late, I just remember being really pissed off when I left this show. But the show was really good, and I got the shirt anyway, so... Is there a show still going on in July? As far as I know, but I think that these decisions are getting made, as the social distancing orders get extended and, the stay-at-home orders and all of that stuff gets extended. So obviously, if you have tickets for a show later this summer, just keep your eyes on the websites. All of the bands are trying so hard not to cancel their entire year's worth of tours, but they're being forced to in some cases. Let's see. Billy asked, what's my all-time concert? I think I talked to you guys about that before. Woodstock 94 was by far the best show I've ever been to. William says, I have a tattoo of Audioslave. Jeff says, isn't Guns N' Roses always late? Except for this last time at Gillette Stadium, they weren't, which was crazy. Frank says, hey, can you give a shout out to Kelsey for me? What's going on, Kelsey? Thanks for hanging out tonight. Kathy says, I took my son to see Chris Cornell solo back in 2011, and it was freaking epic. I remember when he came in, and sat in on my show, I think it was 2014, and he played something from every band that he had been in. So he played, I think he played Fell on Black Days, and then he played an Audioslave song, and he played Call Me a Dog, which is my favorite Temple of the Dog song off that album. And then he played one of his, and then he played No Such Thing, I think. And that performance was just amazing. And his wife, Vicky, was in the studio. It was just the three of us sitting in there. And I asked Chris Cornell a lot of questions about dealing with his depression and all of that. He was very candid. He was very complimentary to his wife, Vicky, who was sitting right there talking about how she had been so helpful with his battle with depression. And so that's all I could think of when obviously we lost him, because I just remember how happy he was in that moment and how in love the two of them were. And it just broke my heart. So, yes, Moscow Mule tonight. I earned it. I've been trying to ration the ginger beer, but I definitely needed it. Oh, so good. Chris says, I never got to see Chris Cornell solo or with Soundgarden, just Audioslave. But you got to see him. You got to see him. Eric says, saw Chris perform Nothing Compares to You live, and it was fantastic. Yeah, he was, I thought him and Eddie Vedder were going to be the grunge vocalist that made it out alive, and it was so shocking for everyone. And that was the death that really kind of shook me to my core, because I just couldn't believe that he was gone. I still can't believe that he's gone. I hear his music and it's like, I was fortunate multiple times to have him come in the studio, come on my show, to interview him multiple times. One time he came to the studio and we hung out, we talked for a while, and then we both got up to take a picture. And it was then that we realized we were dressed identically. We both had like olive green, like pants on and like black hoodies. We literally were dressed identical, and we just were laughing about it. And there's a picture on this page. If you go, there's an album called Artist Archive that's got hundreds of pictures of bands that I've interviewed, artists that had come into the studio. And if you go through it, you can find the picture of me and Chris Cornell. And we just both looked at each other because we kind of realized it at the same time. And it was just freaking hilarious. Bob Hanna. Hey, Bob. Sorry, I'm getting like these updates of people that have signed on to watch, and Bob Hanna's name came across, and it was so nice to see him. I love you, Bob. Jared says, I never got a chance to see him live. I know. Renee says, my son called me first thing. It was devastating when we found out that we had lost him. It was just devastating. Oh, I needed that drink today. So today, I didn't really have a chance to watch the news all that much, which I kind of needed the mental break. That's why I spent so much time outside, which was just really good for my brain. Felt good to be active. I know that we've all been joking about all the snacking that we've been doing, but it just also felt good just to be outside and the fresh air and the sun and whatever. So I didn't really have a chance to watch too much of the news, although I know that casualties in the United States are up over 41,000 today, which is up a couple thousand from this morning when I was having my coffee. Eric says Lane Staley for me. Absolutely, 100%. That one, because Lane had been such a recluse, I think a lot of people expected it, but nobody expected it with Chris Cornell at that point. Laura says, you influenced me to dye my hair purple. Yes! Just don't forget who the OG is, but that's awesome. And I'm looking at your profile picture, Laura, and it looks awesome. So congratulations. Get yourself some black towels and black pillowcases. It'll save you a lot of aggravation. Today, for anybody that might be watching this from outside of Massachusetts, or maybe you are from Massachusetts and you don't really know, today is officially Patriots' Day. It was on this date in 1775 that the American Revolution began. The guys I was embedded with in Afghanistan, the 182nd Infantry from the Mass Army National Guard, put up a little bit of a description, and I thought that I should read it tonight because I thought it was just a great reminder of where we all come from and what's been sacrificed for all of us to be where we're at right now, meaning as Americans, just here. The 182nd Infantry wrote this on Facebook today. At dawn on April 19th, some 700 British troops arrived in Lexington and came upon 77 militiamen gathered in the town green. A British mayor yelled, "Throw down your arms, ye villains, ye rebels." That would be us, by the way. They heavily outnumbered the militiamen and had been ordered by their commander to disperse when a shot rang out. To this day, no one knows which side shot first, but several British volleys were subsequently unleashed before the order could be restored. When the smoke cleared, 8 militiamen lay dead and 9 were wounded, while only 1 redcoat was injured. The British then continued to conquer to search for arms, not realizing that the vast majority had already been relocated. They decided to burn what they found, and the fire got slightly out of control, and hundreds of militiamen occupying the high ground outside of Concord incorrectly thought the whole town would be torched. So the militiamen hustled to Concord's North Bridge, which was defended by a contingent of British soldiers, and the British fired first, but fell back when the colonists returned the volley. This was the shot heard round the world, later immortalized by poet Ralph Waldo Emerson. After searching Concord for 4 hours, the British prepared to return to Boston, located 18 miles away. By that time, almost 2,000 militiamen, known as Minutemen for their ability to be ready at a moment's notice, had descended to the area, and more were constantly arriving. At first, the militiamen simply followed the British column. Fighting started again soon after, however, and the militiamen firing at the British from behind trees, stone walls, houses, and sheds. And before long, British troops were abandoning weapons, clothing, and equipment in order to retreat faster. When the British column reached Lexington, it ran into an entire brigade of fresh redcoats that had answered a call for reinforcements. But that did not stop the colonists from resuming their attack all the way through Metamonie, now Arlington, and Cambridge. The British, for their part, tried to keep the colonists at bay with flanking parties and cannon fire. And in the evening, a contingent of newly arrived Minutemen from Salem and Marblehead, Massachusetts, purportedly had a chance to cut off the redcoats and perhaps finish them off. Instead, their commander ordered them not to attack, and the British were able to reach the safety of Charlestown Neck and return to their naval support. The 1st Battalion, 182nd Infantry Regiment, has the battle streamers for the battles of Lexington and Concord affixed to our colors, they said. Our pride and historic battalion, the oldest active military organization in our country, continues to defend and serve the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the United States of America to this very day. And I wanted to read it because those were the guys that I was in Afghanistan with. And I wanted all of us to remember where we all come from. And remember that while it sucks what we're going through right now, we're all going through it together. And we're all going to rebound out of this together. And we're going to drive forward together. And we started from a bunch of bastards. Ye rebels and ye villains. So cheers to all of those that have put the uniform on and answered the call since April 19th, 1775. And to everyone who still maintains that villain spirit, happy anniversary. Happy Patriots Day. Our history rocks in Massachusetts. Love our dirty water, says Eric. Hell yeah. So I just, yesterday we were talking, and I know every now and again I get off on these rants because I'm getting really aggravated that people are kind of forgetting the bigger picture. Nobody's happy about what's going on. No one wants to be going through this right now. We're all being asked to contribute in some way, to give above and beyond, even if your contribution means just staying the fuck at home. Everyone's businesses are hurting, and the businesses that aren't hurting, that are making money, their employees are going to work every day scared to death, whether it be in takeout restaurants or supermarkets or, auto mechanic places, truck drivers, everyone that works in healthcare, all the first responders, people that are working on the utilities, everybody is scared to leave the house. And the people that aren't leaving the house are scared to leave the house because they're being told to stay home. And so, on a day like today, when we all have the same history to celebrate, I just felt like it was worth the reminder that it took a bunch of people sacrificing money, sacrificing family, sacrificing their resources and time, sacrificing their bodies. But everyone had to sacrifice that day and every day after for us to be in this country, to be where we're at right now. And so, I don't know, maybe it's because I spent the day out in the sun, or, spent the day running around with the dog, that I just have this renewed sense of, I don't know, just honor and love and respect, and I guess patriotism today. That, when I read that post from the 1-8 Deuce today, I was like, you know what? We all kind of just need to remember it wasn't that long ago. And look at how far we've come. And if we can build this country from where we came from, not that long ago, we can figure this out and come back stronger. So, yeah, you're right, Monica. It is gratitude that I am filled with gratitude today. Even though, inside my head, I'm freaking out like a lot of other people too, about what I'm going to do for work and how I'm going to pay my bills, and, what the future is going to look like for me and for my family, and what it's going to look like for a lot of my friends that are struggling right now. I have some great friends that own restaurants and work in bars and are chefs, and I'm so scared for all of them. And yet they continue to call me to ask me how I'm doing, because they know that the radio station went off the air, and they're worried about me too. And I just think that we all just need to remember that we're all scared to death together. And as long as we're all scared together, then we're going to be able to figure it out, because if I've got your back and you have mine, then we're good. But Renee, you're right. The future is scary. Billy wants to know, this is a great question, actually. I've been asked this question a ton. Billy wants to know why I never joined the military. With all of the things that I've done over the years with the military and working with veterans, and from the proud military family that I come from, I've gotten into many debates with people that, have said, especially when the wars started in Iraq and Afghanistan, when I was immediately supportive of our troops, it was very controversial. And I've taken a lot of flack on both sides for my opinions. I've taken a lot of crap from conservative people for being a strong, independent woman that doesn't want to take your shit. And I've taken a lot of flack from liberal people that have seen my support of the military and police officers as being part of the war machine. And when it comes to the political battle right now, with as polarized as everything is, I don't have a side, because I'm in the middle. I feel like, using common sense to navigate things issue by issue. But when it comes to joining the military, I've had a lot of people say that, well, if you want to support him, how come you never joined? The fact is that I was born with a tethered spinal cord. And now they check for that when babies are in utero, but they did not check for that in the 70s. And basically, if you don't know what a tethered spinal cord is, I'll give you the dumbed down medical version, because I'm not a doctor or a medical expert. But basically, I had a benign tumor at the base of my spinal cord. And if you were to look at your central nervous system, your spinal cord goes down through your vertebrae and then kind of ends in what looks almost like a horsetail at the base. So when you have a tethered spinal cord, it means that the tumor is wrapped around the base of your spinal cord, and it anchors it down to your skeletal structure. So as you grow, your spinal cord is being stretched like a slinky, and that causes nerve damage, which is why I have 2 different size feet. Which I've shown you guys. And so when I was in the 6th grade, that's when they found it. They found it by accident. They thought, originally they sent me to a podiatrist because they thought that it was something wrong with my actual foot. And then they sent me to a neurologist, and the neurologist ordered a spinal tap and a CAT scan. And when I got the spinal tap, they actually put the needle for the spinal tap into the tumor, which then shot my leg up off the table. And I was in the 6th grade at the time. And that's how they found the tumor. They didn't even know it was there because they hadn't done the CAT scan yet. So when I was in the 6th grade, I had the tumor removed, which, by the way, they told me if I didn't have the tumor removed, that I would be in a wheelchair by my senior prom and I would be dead by the time I was 30, because the nerve damage started in my foot and would eventually go up the entire left side of my body and would eventually paralyze that side of my body and then kill me. So I had the tumor removed, and then the next year, my little foot, they did a bunch of surgery in there to try and relieve some of the nerve damage and to correct it. And then in my knee, they stapled the growth plate of my knee closed on my good leg because my legs were more than an inch different in length. So I'm supposed to be about 5'10", and I'm only 5'7". My grandmother that was married to my grandfather that was in the Navy, she was 6 feet tall. A lot of the women in my family are 5'8", 5'9". They're all really tall, by average standards. And I'm only 5'7" because they stapled the growth plate in my knee closed. So I have 6 giant metal staples that are still in my knee to this day, which is why I can't have an MRI. And my feet are 2 different sizes, and I have paralysis in the small foot, so I'm really clumsy. Some people think I trip over stuff, and they're like, oh, she must be drunk. And I'm like, nope, sober as a judge, just clumsy as shit. So the long-winded answer to your question about why I never joined the military was that I am not medically eligible. The only branch of the military that tried to recruit me in high school was the Marines. When they called my senior year of high school, because I was always very athletic, even though I had issues. William says, you are all fucked up. Oh, trust me. But I always participated in sports. I just was never great. I was average or a little above average, but not great. But I always wanted to participate. And when the Marine recruiter called, he must have gotten my name off of, some list or whatever. I told him about my surgeries, and he was like, thank you so much. Have a great day. Like, I'm just not, the military would never take me. Now, I can't guarantee you that I ever would have enlisted. I can't say, oh, I was going to enlist, because I was always a rebellious troublemaker. Now, to a lot of my friends that are in the military that I know are watching right now, they're all in the military and they're all rebellious troublemakers too. But it was never an option for me, so I don't know if I ever would have exercised that option. But because I couldn't, it was always instilled in me that I had to do my part, that everyone had a part to play. And if that was not going to be my part, that I needed to find a way to contribute to the whole, meaning the country, that I needed to give in some way. And so that idea never really galvanized in my brain as what my role or my way of participating until 9/11 happened. And then when 9/11 happened, knowing that we were going to go to war, I knew that at that point that it was going to be my opportunity to support those that were going and to try and help in any way that I could. And that's really what fused my work with the military and with veterans and first responders, is because that's my way of giving back. So just so you guys know, the kind of the finish of the story, last year, part of the reason why I was so emotional when I crossed the finish line of the marathon, not only was I running for the home base program, which the executive director was the commanding general that I was with in Afghanistan, but the home base program is a partnership between the Red Sox and Mass General Hospital. And part of the reason why I wanted to run for the home base program is that all of those surgeries that I had that saved my life, I had at Mass General. And those doctors saved my life. And that was my way of giving back to a place that I know I wouldn't be here without. And so when I'm always singing the praises of how lucky we are here in Massachusetts to have such amazing hospitals an hour away or a half hour away or down the street, or we're very fortunate to have the access to the top-notch medical resources that we have. And so part of the reason why I wanted to run the marathon for the Home Base program was that I wanted to help shine a light on the great work that Mass General Hospital does because of the great work that they did for me. So that's a very long-winded answer to a very short question that you asked about why I didn't join the military, and it just was never an option for me. But I feel like I've spent my time trying to contribute in my own way and to give back the best I could and to shine a light on those that are doing things that I could never do. And because I come from a family of first responders and veterans, that was how I was going to do it. I will tell you that when I was driving trucks back in the day, I was studying for the civil service exam because I thought maybe I could go and be a firefighter and work with my dad. And when I got offered the job on the air at AAF, I was like, run into burning buildings, sit on my ass and talk shit for a living. Sit on my ass and talk shit for a living one. So there you go. So that's the long-winded answer to the question, and why it is that I'm so passionate about the work that I do. And in my next endeavor, depending on what that is going to be, I will continue that work as well. Today was supposed to be the Tough Ruck, and I would have been there today along the Battle Road Trail in Lexington and Concord with all of the Tough Ruckers. It's Tough Ruck weekend. And then tomorrow I would have been along the finish line. If AAF were still on the air, I would have been broadcasting live from the finish. And if the situation with AAF were still the same, that I just would have been down there on my own with my friends, cheering on all of the charity runners that were like I was, that were just struggling to finish. And that's exactly where I'm going to be in September when the marathon happens. I will be there along the route at the finish, cheering on all of the amazing runners that unfortunately have to wait until September to really understand, to really understand how special the marathon is and how special the city of Boston is and just what it feels like to turn onto Boylston and cross that finish line. I was overcome with emotion, and you guys saw all of the videos, and now you understand why, is that it wasn't just the physical issues that I've had my whole life and the fact that I never in a million years thought that I would ever be able to run a marathon. I mean, that was never, when they found the tumor in my back, they told me that if I went through my last growth spurt and the tumor wasn't removed, that, I would be in a wheelchair by my senior prom and that I would be dead by the time I was 30. And those words really stuck in my head because when I was at my prom, I remembered that. And on my 30th birthday, my mom had this big surprise party for me. And I remember being overwhelmed with the notion that in a lot of ways my life was just beginning and that my life would have ended if they hadn't found the tumor when they did. And now they can find a tethered spinal cord, which, is just one of those 1 in a million birth defects, but they can find it now and untether it, either when the baby is still in utero or right after the baby is born, and they can grow up and never really have had any issues. But when I was a kid, they didn't know. So I have these gnarly scars on my knee and on my foot and on my back that I used to be really embarrassed about. And as I've gotten older, I have really grown to love them. And not just my scars, but I have such appreciation for scars now, like tattoos. Like, when I was a teenager, it was so embarrassing that I had these giant scars on my legs. But now I look at scars, especially for, a lot of my friends that have served overseas and, have been shot or hit with shrapnel, or it's like those scars, they're a badge of honor. It's a battle wound. It's a tattoo. It's, it's something that you can brag about now and be like, you know what, I survived that. Like, who the hell wants to make it through life without scars? It shows you how tough you are and what you've overcome, and just scars are badass. Jeff wants to know if I ever have any pain. So the reason why I don't do the Tough Ruck anymore is because the surgery to get the tumor out of my back was so invasive, which is why they don't do it anymore, that I've been diagnosed with arthritis in my spine now. And the only thing, the Tough Ruck 2017, I was still hobbling around in excruciating pain at Metallica at Gillette, which was like 5 weeks later. And I ended up on all of these medications and went through months of physical therapy. And basically they told me that I have arthritis in my spine, and the arthritis is due to the invasive nature. They basically had to shave down the vertebrae in my lower back. And so because of that, I have pain in my back sometimes, like I might be sore tomorrow with all of the work that I did out in the yard today. But the physical therapy, I do the stretches and do all of that. And then I have phantom pain in my foot because I have nerve damage there. So there are parts of my foot that I can't feel. But then you get these pains like someone is like electrocuting the nerve that you normally can't feel. And then all of a sudden you feel all of it. So yeah, I'm still dealing with pain from it, but there's nothing that they can do about it. Nice Papa Roach quote, Jennifer, by the way. So it just is what it is. And that's why when I do things like the Tough Ruck or running the marathon, why I get so emotional about it. It's because, I just refuse to be told I can't do something. And I might not, I ran the marathon in 6 hours, 24 minutes and 50 seconds. Not that I have it memorized or anything. That's slow as shit. But I finished it, and I don't care how slow it was. I just couldn't believe I finished the damn thing. So I'm uncoordinated. I'm very clumsy. I'm never, I run like Tom Brady at the combine, except he runs faster than I do. And when you can say Tom Brady runs faster than you can, you're slow. But it is what it is. I'm not going to get another body anytime soon, so I might as well just make the best of it. So Mike says, I saw you at Metallica, took a pic together, would love to send it to you. Send it my way. Tweet it at me, put it up on Instagram. I was on prednisone and all kinds of other meds because I could barely walk when I was at Metallica. I was in so much pain. Because of the Tough Ruck, which is why I have such huge admiration for people that do the Tough Ruck year after year after year, or people that run the marathon year after year. I could barely get off the couch the day after I ran the marathon. I was junk. Sandy wants to know, do I do yoga? I have done yoga, and it's very helpful. Sean says, Tom Brady's a professional athlete. It's okay that he runs faster. I know, but everyone makes fun of him because he runs so slow. So you finished the marathon, something some people just can't do, says Keith. 100%. That's why I did it. But, if you saw the video of me trying to get to the finish line, like I was hobbling, I was in excruciating pain. And it was the knee that had all the metal staples in it that gave me so many of the problems along the way, that it just was killing me. But whatever. So I apologize for going off on a rant, but Tom Who, Sheila says, But I get asked that question a lot, and I have the time to answer it now, in a real way, so that people understand, like, I've gotten into fights with people that are like, you want to fucking support the troops so much, why don't you just join the fucking military? I've even had veterans, say that to me, and they're like, I've gotten into debates, even with veterans that, wanted to tell me I didn't know what I was talking about, or, I don't know. I've taken so much crap from people over the years, and, it's just one of those questions that if you guys are going to ask, I'm going to answer it for you and just explain it so that you have an idea that, and also I'm hoping that, if one of you guys has had physical issues, I mean, I am by no means handicapped, but I'm definitely not running at 100%. And maybe you had some issues with one of your legs or your feet or your back or something, and you thought, oh, I could never run the marathon, or I could never do the Tough Ruck, or I could never do those things. You totally can. You could take 12 hours to run the marathon, but you'll finish it. You'll get yourself there. If you set your mind to saying, I'm going to finish that thing. I mean, it took me 10 hours and 10 minutes to finish my first Tough Ruck. I was the last person on the course, and they kept the course open for me. And I hated every step, but I wouldn't trade that experience for anything in the world. So, just try it. If you want to give it a shot, give it a shot. Why not? And even if you can't finish it, at least you tried. Just give it a shot. Cindy says, never give up. People keep pushing. Exactly. That's why I'm telling you guys the story. That's why I wanted to read that post about Patriots Day. How did I train for those? Jennifer, are you talking about the Tough Ruck? I trained by carrying a rucksack with weight, and I either did it on the treadmill or I got out on the road and I made the weight heavier and walked further, and you just got to put the miles in. There's no way to train for a Tough Ruck or a marathon or any kind of endurance or distance kind of thing without putting the miles in. It's the only way to do it. And then I did a lot of stretches too, because you got to get your ruck fitted right so that you're carrying the weight properly. You've got to find a ruck that the straps don't rub, that you can just carry it correctly. And you just got to put the miles in. I'll tell you what though, like Tough Ruck training, when I did it with my team, I did the military weight class, because if my guys were going to carry that weight, I was going to carry that weight. So it was a minimum of 45 pounds. And you don't think, 45 pounds, not that big of a deal. Mile 25, 45 pounds, it might as well be a Volkswagen. So you get a ruck with some good straps and just put the miles in. They have different weight classes now. They have, I think the minimum weight for the Tough Ruck is 15 pounds, and it goes all the way up to the military weight. And yes, they weigh them at the beginning and the end. And they should, to make sure that you're doing it. I remember, oh my God, the first or second year that I did the Tough Ruck, I was with guys that I was in Afghanistan with. And the Patriots cheerleaders were doing the Tough Ruck. It was the second year, I think, or the second or third year. I can't remember. Anyway, they were doing the Tough Ruck in like yoga pants with sneakers and these little itty bitty girly backpacks. And I was behind them, and their hair was all done and they had makeup on. And I'm like sweating. I had combat boots on, and I'm with all of my guys. And I will never forget, one of the guys that was on our team blew up a porta potty. When I tell you that he did that porta potty wrong, he came out of there and he was sweating, and we were like, what is wrong with you? I've never seen anything funnier than watching one of those Patriots cheerleaders go into that porta potty right after my buddy came out, and she came out horrified and was like, I'll hold it. And they kept walking. And I died laughing. Hilarious. But if you're gonna, like, for me, I wasn't gonna say that I did the tough ruck without doing the tough part of the ruck, which was the combat boots and the military weighted ruck, and doing it with all of my guys. And it sucks. I'm not gonna lie to you. It totally sucks. It's so hard, but it's amazing. I loved it, loved it, loved it. That's why I go every year. The Military Friends Foundation is the organization that you raise the money for. And I'll be there. When you guys make up the tough ruck, I will be there. But it just bums me out because there's something about walking in the footsteps of those Minutemen on the Battle Road Trail in Lexington and Concord on Patriots Day weekend that just kind of really puts things in perspective. And I'm just so bummed that they couldn't have it this weekend. So, Sharon, the answer to your question is yes. She identified my stinky ass buddy who blew up the porta potty. So yeah. Okay. Let me give you guys your drink recipe first, because I haven't picked out the artifact from the war room yet. So the drink is called a spice whirl, and it's an ounce of spiced rum, 2/3 of an ounce of triple sec, an ounce of fresh orange juice, an ounce of papaya juice, and 2/3 of an ounce of fresh lime juice. I picked it because I've never seen a drink with papaya juice in it before, and I thought it sounded delicious. You shake the ingredients, strain them into an ice-filled highball glass, and serve it with a straw. If you don't mind, make it a paper straw, save the turtles. Have you seen how the wildlife is thriving right now, which just goes to show you that humans suck? Because they say that sea turtles right now, the hatchlings on the beaches, like so many animals are thriving right now because humans aren't out there being the asshats that we normally are. So if any good is going to come from this, I mean, did you see the pictures of Los Angeles? There's no smog in LA right now because there's no traffic. I have friends that are in LA that are up in the hills taking pictures going, I've never seen this like this before. The air is so clean and it's just crazy. So if you're going to make the spice whirl, make it with a paper straw. Save the planet. Now I got to figure out. Oh, okay. I know what I'm going to show you now. This was given to me by the Mass Army National Guard. And they give it for appreciation, for support, and going above and beyond. And I should have had this already picked out already, but they came into the radio station and they gave me a Minuteman, which I love. I keep it up on the shelf with my grandfather's military picture, and there's no plaque on it or anything. It's just they give them to people as a way to thank them for supporting the National Guard. And so I've always kept it. They gave it to me years ago, and this is my Minuteman. So April 19th, 1775. This is the shit they were fighting in. Ye villains, ye rebels. It's pretty badass. It looked like the dudes in the end zone at Gillette with the muskets. But I just love it. I think it's really cool. People come over and they always want to like pick them up and look at it. And I'll show you the back. He's Minuteman butt. But I just thought it was really cool. And, you know, the National Guard's always been so wonderful with me and so appreciative of my support. And I am so appreciative of everything that they do. You know, I mean, right now, the National Guard is out there. You know, they are coordinating the delivery of emergency supplies and PPE to all of the different hospitals. They are using their trucks and all of their logistical capabilities to help all of the medical workers. And, you know, they do a lot more than just put their uniforms on and fly overseas to fight wars. Our National Guard guys are there to help at home, whether it be, you know, using heavy equipment after a blizzard or helping to secure the scene after the marathon bombing, or, you know, right now just being so helpful in any way that they can with the medical crisis that we're going through right now. And so I just think that they're amazing people, and that they lead this dual life, that they put, you know, civilian clothes on and they go to work and they have lives like everyone else. And then when the shit hits the fan, they put their uniform on and they do whatever we ask them to do. And I just think that it takes a special kind of person to do that. And it all came from those people that met the Redcoats on the North Bridge. They're all the same guys. They're all cut from the same cloth. Ladies too, obviously. And so I love my little Minuteman. If today's your birthday, I wanted to send a special birthday wishes, because there are a bunch of my friends that are celebrating birthdays today. My friend Cheryl, my friend Steph, one of my Afghanistan guys, Mike, they all are having birthdays today. I looked, unfortunately, if today's your birthday, you share it with Suge Knight. But you share it with some amazing people that I love, that have been dear friends of mine for years and years and years. So if today's your birthday, happy birthday. Cheers to you. And I hope you guys had as good of a day as I did. I hope that you were able to get outside, and it was just really nice to work on something that when I got things done around the yard, that I was able to step back and go, oh, I accomplished something today. Like, it feels really good. And just, Sharon says it's her husband's birthday. Well, happy birthday to him, Sharon. Tell him we all said happy birthday. But I just felt really good today. You know, we're going to all have good days and bad days. For me, today was a good day. You know, tomorrow might not be a good day, but today is a good day, and I'm just going to take it one day at a time. Don't forget a couple things. One, that Sully Erna's Hometown Sessions is going to be on his YouTube channel on Tuesday, and I am going to be his guest, so check that out. And then Tuesday night is Temple Tuesday. So don't forget, we collectively decided a couple nights ago that we are going to give our liver a break, and we are also going to show support for all of the people that are in recovery, because it's got to be really hard for them going through all of this and still trying to fight their addiction. And so we're going to have Shirley Temples on Tuesday. So we're calling it Temple Tuesday. That'll be our non-alcoholic cocktail in Cocktails in the War Room. And we can all kind of give our liver a break, but also show support for all of those that are joining us every night in the War Room, to show them that, you know, we can get through this and we don't need to be drinking every night to do it. So I'm not going to tell you guys what to do. I'm just telling you that I'm going to Shirley Temple it up on Tuesday. Sully's show, Hometown Sessions, launches at 6 o'clock on Tuesday on his YouTube channel. And then I will be here at 8:30, Cocktails in the War Room. So tomorrow would have been Marathon Monday. It's going to be really weird for all of us to not have the day off, to not have the Red Sox playing. People outside of Massachusetts, or definitely outside of New England, just don't understand what a special day it is for all of us, and the fact that we're not going to be lining the marathon route, the fact that you're not going to be at a Red Sox game, that you're not going to be celebrating Patriots Day the way that you had wished and hoped that you would be. But we're going to do it. It's just going to be a little delayed. So, mocktails in the war room, Paula. Yes! Oh, you guys are the best. You guys are the absolute best. Oh, that is so funny. All right, guys. Sorry, I was just reading all the stuff that come up. Mocktails in the War Room Tuesday. That's fantastic. Temple Tuesday on Tuesday. But I will meet you guys back here tomorrow night at 8:30. Cheers from my war room. Thank you guys for hanging out with me every night. Get some sleep. I hope you had a great day. Stay safe. Keep your head up. We made it through another day, and we're going to make it through tomorrow too. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. I want this turned off. What's going on? What?